Hey, it's us again. Welcome back as we are doing our Super Bowl prop show. This is Heading Back to the Window crew. I am Scott Steen, lead handicapper at winnersandwhiners.com, joined as always by the effervescent
Scott Reichel, senior handicapper over winnersandwhiners.com.
And together we do a show each and every day, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, Monday through Friday, a little thing we call Heading Back to the Window with Scott and Scott. But now we're going to do something a little bit special as we're going to take a look at some of our favorite plays for the Super Bowl as far as the prop action. Scott, I saw there was going to be a record 38.1 million people betting on the Super Bowl this year. Going to break all kinds of records for number of people bets taken. Not really much of a surprise there with more and more states becoming legal online, right?
Well, you got New York, so that's huge by itself.
Start spreading the news, buddy. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
So, you think props are more popular than the game?
Yes.
With bettors?
Yeah, you got to remember that a lot of people really, really love the NFL, but there's only 2 teams left, which means the majority of the fans of the actual league or teams in the league probably don't have a team to root for right now.
Right.
Besides some, sentimental purpose, or maybe just like how cool Joe Burrow is. But the point is, a lot of people.
I'm already tired of that shit, by the way. I'm tired of Joe Cool. I'm over him.
Really?
Yeah. This fucking. I don't need to see 22-year-olds with fucking swagger. You're good. Just fucking relax.
Either way, point is that a lot of people who root for football don't exactly have a team that's still in the hunt,
That's true,
so to speak. So you're betting on something, whether it involves squares, a prop sheet, something. Point is that people have money or something on the game to make it more interesting. I think the props are very important.
Yep,
You?
absolutely. I think people like to have a little sniff. They'll. It really is true. We will bet on anything. I don't know, and I know you saw it at 102. A lot of places I checked, coin toss still Scott minus 105.
Yep.
Can't do it.
I saw 101.
So 101.
If you like to bet online, I found 101.
Oh, there you go. All right, very good. I'm
feeling heads this year, by the way.
Most ridiculous Super Bowl bet? What do you think it is? Prop? What's the most head shaking prop to you?
On DraftKings, I saw a prop with no context at all. Will there be an octopus?
I got that on my list.
It was like 20-1.
I
don't even know what the hell that means.
I'm going to be honest with you, Scott. I had to look it up. It's when the same player scores the touchdown and the 2-point conversion for 8 points total. Octopus has 8 arms.
That's a thing? I never heard of that in my life.
Nope, never. And I literally, I was this old when I found out about it. I found out literally about 3 hours ago.
So I thought they meant like Detroit Red Wings hockey game when somebody's throwing a squid on the ice.
Correct.
Like, okay, never mind.
No, that's not the case at all, sir. Not the case at all. So I know one of the most profitable or one of the most popular areas to bet is MVP. Of course, you can bet individuals for MVP. Scott, do you have a particular favorite that you like for MVP?
Well, first of all, historically speaking, it's a quarterback award, so you should probably have some action on a quarterback or two.
31-25. 31-25.
For quarterback, non-quarterback?
Yep.
I'm not sure what the numbers are for the last 20 years, though. I'm sure there's been a pretty solid quarterback ratio for the last 10, 15 Super Bowls.
There has, and then there's more. I actually have it broken down by position.
Okay.
Would you like to know? And along the way, I'll reveal some value. Okay, for starters, you can take Cup could pull an Edelman. Absolutely true. Absolutely true.
Definitely
JB.
possible.
Okay, so if you like a quarterback for MVP, minus 300, Scott. Okay. Based on history, true odds minus 122. Don't do it. Wide receiver plus 250. True odds plus 700. Nope. Running back plus 900. True odds plus 700. Little value at running back. All right. And then we get into some of the real value as
punter.
If you want to take a linebacker plus 1100. True value plus 6,100. You want to take
a kicker ever won the Super Bowl MVP?
Kicker, punter, I believe one time. Let me look up my list here. Hang on, I got it.
Punter 0% chance. Kicker, I'm not sure. If
they're all lumped together. You have kicker, punter, and long snapper.
Okay.
I thought it might have been in the Dallas-Baltimore game, but it wasn't. So then I don't think there's a shot. No.
I mean, to answer your question,
am
I going to bet?
A linebacker has won once.
Okay.
Excuse me, a linebacker's won four times. By position. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you real quick here. I'll give you.
What's the odds on defensive line?
They group them together. But I will tell you, a defensive tackle, defensive end, combined have won the MVP 3 times. The odds on defensive line are plus 1,000. True odds are plus 430. So you're getting value there. How about a tight end at plus 2,800, Scott? You know how many tight ends have won the MVP?
1.
Nope. 0. Never happened. Not one. The historical number is ridiculously, it favors losing the toss as well. The team that loses the toss has won every Super Bowl game since 2014. Huh. Okay.
That's a fun fact.
Yeah, it is. And there may be some science behind it, because you're probably getting, since 2014, you're probably deferring, so you're probably getting the ball first. Maybe you go down there and set the tone. So
that's the thing, though, is I'm not really sure if there's any chance that any coach anymore wants to receive the ball first, right?
Right.
I mean, you're just
that's what I'm saying.
For who's gonna.
So if you lose the toss, you're getting the ball first.
Yeah.
So there could be an advantage there back in old school football. Defensive back plus 1,200, true odds plus 430. So the moral of the story, kids, is the more unlikely it is to happen, the more actual value there is on the real numbers. So now, do you think it's going to happen? Of course not. You think it's going to be a quarterback, and you fucking put it to bed, and that's it. But if you want to take a little spin, you could do worse than like a defensive lineman, for example, at plus 1,000. You've got some high quality. You've got Aaron Donald, and you've got there was Hendrickson for the Cincinnati.
Yeah, Hendrickson.
So you got your 2 guys that can get after the quarterback, could put 3 sacks on the board, 4 sacks on the board, fumble recovery, that kind of thing. Scoop and score. I think it puts a defensive lineman right in the pack. So there's definitely good value there. So anyway, probably the most interesting bet I found, and this is one of my favorites, is Higgins and Boyd matched up against Kupp by himself, most yards.
Okay. Boyd's been pretty quiet this entire playoff run now.
Yep, he has. I just went back and did it for the season. Higgins and Boyd, you're getting plus 105. The true odds, because they had 1947 together, and Kupp had 1916. So the true odds would be minus 105. So you're getting 10 cents of value right there, Scott. If you want to take Kupp, you got to lay minus 130. His true odds should be plus 102. So, yeah, don't do it. That's what I'm saying. Okay. If you wanted to play Higgins and Boyd together. Runner on the field. That's a good one, Joan. That's absolutely a fan on the field. Yep. I like one of my personal favorites, Scott, and you can actually do a little research on it, is the National Anthem. And I didn't do any for today, and it kind of snuck up on me, but I do like taking. I
heard people are leaning to the under this year.
Who is it?
I don't even remember.
Yeah, I got to look it up, because you can find clips of them on YouTube, and there's always a whole sub thing about it where you can read all about the National Anthem. What's some of your favorites, Scott? We talked about the octopus, where hopefully you've learned something new, or maybe you were already way smarter than we are, which is certainly a strong possibility. But neither Scott nor I before today knew what an octopus was. Scott didn't know about it before this show.
I don't know if you want to get into my favorite 3 now, or you want to just keep talking about the MVP, etc.
No, that's I think that's solid. We could look You want to look at individual MVP odds? How about that?
Do you have any that jump off the page for you? Because I feel like, once again, of course, the MVP is going to come from the winning team. Duh. It's only not happened once.
Right.
And so basically you're automatically picking a money line built into it. It's just a way of finding value on the money line. So I'm blindly looking at Burrow. I think you have to.
Yep.
Just because I know that you said you've had enough of the swagger, etc. If they win and he does not play like complete garbage, he's winning the award. Like, I don't know who else they're going to give it to. It's just a matter of he basically single-handedly turned the franchise around. They might win their first Super Bowl ever. Do you think somebody else is winning it if Burrow even puts up mediocre numbers? Because I don't.
Unless there's something spectacular happens on defense, like like I said, Hendrickson having 3 sacks and a scoop and score, something like that, where Burrow has an average day, then I could see it not happening. But yeah, for the most part, if the Bengals win, if Burrow's throws a couple of touchdown passes, etc., then yeah, you're probably good.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm looking at. So Burrow, I'm going to take. Do you know what the odds are? I'm trying to find what the MVP
what do you want
odds are.
What do you want to know? Who do you want to know? Plus 225 on Burrow.
What's Burrow to start?
Plus 225.
Okay.
And
I mean, if I think Cincinnati's going to win, he's going to get it. So I think you're saving value on the Bengals money line by taking it.
Yep.
So I'll go there. For the Rams, do I think they give it to somebody not named Stafford? What's the Donald odds?
12.
He's 12?
Mm-hmm.
It's a little short. Okay, I'll go outside the box. What's Leonard Floyd's odds?
I don't have him listed.
Okay.
He's it's worse than 100, or it's better than 100, however you want to.
On question, which are you using a book for the odds here? Because I just can't find the
odds. I just Googled it quickly because I got all my books up on other sites. I didn't want to fuck it up, so I just Googled it and it came up on the Athletic. Okay. They're using BetMGM, by the way.
What's the odds on Jalen Ramsey?
Jalen Ramsey is like a 125.
Okay, I don't mind that one.
Okay.
If you think that he's going to be matched up on Chase and Burrow's going to force feed him, once again, if you're taking a defensive player, you need a miraculous performance.
Mm-hmm.
Ramsey getting a pick or two, I think that's definitely a possibility. I mean, 125 to 1, that's a pretty solid deal for taking one of, if not the best corners in the league, no?
Absolutely. Against a high-profile receiver, where if you shut him down, it really shows up in the box score. D from Detroit giving you the attaboys for your call on Boston yesterday, as I know you loaded up personally, and the Nets loaded up not at all. So 28-2 to start the game. That'll do big. How about Evan McPherson at 100 to 1? Because the Cincinnati team has so much trouble in the red zone. You could see the Rams having trouble scoring. This game sort of be a something like a 26-21 Bengals win with 4 field goals from McPherson.
It's possible, but I don't see it. A kicker's, you said, never won before, right?
Nope, never won.
McPherson's a hell of a guy. If he hits a game-winning field goal at the end, maybe, but no. I'm going to stay away from kickers. To look at the MVP odds, by the way, I found a site that actually has it.
Okay.
You said Ramsey was around 125 to 1.
Yeah. What do you got?
That's tempting. I see 90 to 1 on this book, so 125 to 1 sounds interesting. The first person I mentioned was Leonard Floyd, 200 to 1. That's pretty juicy to me.
Don't hate
200 to 1 sounds like a good deal.
Don't hate it, man, because there's got to be a leak in that bag somewhere. You can't block everybody. You can't block Donald. You can't block Miller. You can't block Floyd. Somebody's gonna do some damage, Scott. It could be Leonard Floyd.
Especially if you double team Miller on the not Miller. If you double team Donald on the inside,
which is a given.
Of course, they're going to be focused on Miller.
Yep.
You might have a situation where they over adjust to those guys, and Floyd gets a bunch of 1-on-1, and he might be able to make some key plays. So 200 to 1's tempting there. What else was there?
Well, I will tell you.
Hendrickson's 175 to 1.
Okay.
That's an auto bet for me.
Yep. Absolutely.
If you want to go for a long shot there. So
when we talked about no tight end winning at 28 to 1 of the odds, I say screw that. You could take Uzama at 100 to 1 and Higbee at a higher number than that and call it good if you wanted to play, the ridiculous tight end having the MVP day.
I'd consider it if Uzama was healthy.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if he can move, so I'm going to toss the tight ends out. Just because I feel like if you're going to win with a tight end, you need a Gronk or somebody who's going to be on the field the entire time. Both teams rotate tight ends frequently. I just don't see enough volume.
Okay.
Do you? I just don't see enough volume.
No, it would have to take something spectacular for that to happen.
But I don't see how likely that is when both teams rotate tight ends in and out. So I'm going to toss those out. But if you want to go for long shots, once again, these are like $10 to win $1,700. Hendrickson, I'm tempted by. Floyd, I'm tempted by at 200 to 1. And Ramsey at around 120 to 1. I think are solid long shots. But I think the realistic option is Burrow.
Yeah, you have to look at the quarterbacks first. And it isn't.
Odell maybe at 22 to 1. Maybe.
Okay. Now, the one person we've left out of the conversation has been Cooper Kupp at 6 to 1. Do you think that's too short of a price on a wide receiver?
I don't think there's any value because, of course, if Kupp ends up having 120-something yards and a touchdown, that means Stafford is going to have minimum 120-something plus and a touchdown. Not to mention all the other receivers they have, but the Rams have so many weapons. The thing about the Edelman Super Bowl MVP was the fact that you look at the rest of New England's receiving core. Did they really have anybody?
No.
Besides Gronk?
No, it was a horrible team.
That's what a horrible receiving core. So the point is, you still have Odell. You still have a decent amount of tight ends that are pretty good. Van Jefferson's underrated as well. There's a lot of receivers there that could end up having a decent game. 6 to 1 for Kupp. I get that he's unbelievable and all, but
yeah,
are they really going to vote for Kupp if he has 120 yards and a touchdown over Stafford with 330 and 2 touchdowns? Probably not.
I'm not getting involved with Kupp for less than 2 to 1. JC's done. Says my dog agrees with.
Wait, for less than 2 to 1.
I'm sorry. 10 to 1. 10 to 1.
10 to 1, I think, is the price you're looking for.
Yes.
But once again, that's the question you have to ask yourself, because if Kupp has a big game, odds are Stafford's going to as well. So, do you think Stafford or Kupp would win the MVP if Stafford finishes with 320 and 2 touchdowns, and Kupp ends up with 120 and a touchdown?
Right.
I think they're giving it to Stafford.
That's what, because they're going to lean Stafford anyway, because it's such a great story after languishing in Detroit for 100 years. Finally finding his way out of the wilderness. JB points out that was a 13-3 game, so nobody else did anything. That is absolutely true. That was on the other night, Scott. I actually watched that, and it was, if anything,
it was painful.
It was worse than I remembered it, and I remembered it as being horrible, and it was even worse.
I remember the brutal red zone interception by Goff at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Or it wasn't red zone. He just chucked it down the sideline, and Gilmore got handed a pick on a silver platter.
Yep. So here's one you can play, and I'm kind of interested in this. I will get involved in this with Burrow throwing more touchdown passes than Stafford. You can get that at plus 150, Scott, and that's good value because during the season, Burrow threw 34, Stafford threw 41, so the true odds for that play should be plus 121. So I'm getting about 20%, 22% in value there. That's a play for me. I'll take Burrow. Now the problem is a push is a loss, so you do have to be aware that if they each throw 2, you're screwed. You don't get your money back, but. The push is an option, by the way, about I think plus 300, but I will play that as well. What else are you looking at?
So is it time to go through my favorite or best bets for the prop?
Yeah. Just go through what you got.
So first one's going to be a pretty standard one, not that exotic. I'm going Odell over 60.5 receiving yards.
Okay.
At around minus 120. You shop around, it's mostly 62, 63. I saw Fox Bet had 60.5 at minus 120. I'm going to take that. He's had at least 69 in each of the last 2 games. Had 100 plus last game against San Francisco. If we know that Kupp is the main weapon, I'm sure Cincinnati knows that as well. Unfortunately, every other team knew that too, but Kupp still did whatever he wanted.
Right.
But Odell's been so good over the last couple of weeks, and the Bengals secondary is very underwhelming, you're going to have Odell on who? Eli Apple for the entire game? I'll take my chances.
About tired of him too, by the way.
What?
About tired of him too, by the way.
Eli Apple?
Yeah.
It's because he's not very good.
No, he's horrible.
So I'm going to go with Odell over. He's really clicking with Stafford. It makes a lot of sense to me. So I like the over there. Maybe even touchdown score. I saw was around plus 140 for any time. I don't mind that. But the yards on Odell seem very low. I think he'll get into the 70s. You?
Okay. I like the Bengals to win and Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, both to score a touchdown.
Okay.
So you're getting plus 600 on that. True odds of that should be about somewhere in the neighborhood of plus 540. So you're getting about 10% value there. And I think this would be a good time to remind everybody to use different books if you have the opportunity to
shop your lines,
because there will never be more discrepancy than you will find on Super Bowl props. So, and I know a lot of the real value in the props is been diminished because when the time to bet them is when they come up. Mm-hmm. But we know that people bet them the closer to the game. What I'm saying is I don't think we would have had as much traction or as much interest in our video a week ago. Plus, a lot of the plays we gave out would no longer be relevant. The numbers would be so stale that if you tried to watch it a week later, a lot of them would be unbettable. So
yeah, pretty much.
It's hard to take receivers or quarterbacks. Yeah,
he meant over quarterbacks, but yeah, that's the way it is.
I mean, it is. I mean, that's this again. The way that
because the narratives are always with the quarterbacks.
Yep, agreed. I'm trying to see. So 4 of the last 5 have been quarterbacks. We had a couple of linebackers, 14 and 16. But again, we've had Brady, Foles, Mahomes, and Brady again, and Edelman.
I'm trying to think. The linebackers said 14 and 16.
Mm-hmm.
Malcolm Smith was 1.
Yeah.
What was the other one?
Von Miller.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
He couldn't.
I keep forgetting he's technically a linebacker.
Couldn't fucking give it to Manning. Couldn't do it.
Oh, he was brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to. Von Miller had the strip sack fumble, the biggest play of the game.
Yep.
So yeah, that makes sense. But the point is, both of them made game-changing plays. The Malcolm Smith one, not so much. I would have still given it to Wilson personally, but he had a pick 6.
Right.
So you need some huge play involved, which is why I mentioned Ramsey, Hendrickson, Floyd, people who can make big plays if you need a defensive score. So that's where I'm kind of looking at. But that's going to segue me into my second play, which is going to be Trey Hendrickson to record a full sack at minus 125 on DraftKings. And a couple reasons why. First of all, I know laying juice with a guy to record a sack sounds wild. The only thing crazier is Hendrickson's numbers. He's recorded at least 1 sack in 15 of 18 games this season. You know how insane that is?
That's nuts. That's
15 of 18.
Yep.
So minus 125, whatever true odds you should be getting, 125 is a bargain. Give me Hendrickson.
Did you figure it out? Did you figure out the true odds?
No, but it's a lot. It's high. It's a lot juicier than minus 125.
It's high. It's
high. It's far. It's gone. I'm taking minus 125.
Put it on the board. Any thoughts on like quarter plays, first quarter, that kind of stuff? How do you see this game playing out, or do you don't want to? We don't want to give away too much before our Friday show.
That's going to segue me into my third prop.
Okay.
So if you have a second one you want to talk about, I'll let you do that first.
It's really hard. It's really hard not to take Kupp over. I know it's a hellacious number, but I've got it at 104.5. You got anything better than that?
Let me see. You said 104.5?
Mm-hmm.
What do we got? If you're gonna find anything lower, it's gonna probably be hovering around something 100 related.
Yeah, I'm good.
I see 105.5 on
Give it
DraftKings.
I play it up to 106. And Henry sacks bet is cool. Yeah. What's the odds? What chances of Von Miller or Donald dominating this poor offensive line and winning the MVP? Yeah, we talked about that.
Well, we did talk about it. I'm not taking Donald. I can't take 16-1 on a defensive lineman. That I can't do. But I mentioned Hendrickson, 175-1, Floyd at 200-1, and Ramsey at wherever you can find it, 100-1, 125-1, whatever. I think those are my defensive players. Donald could go nuts. Can you really take a defensive tackle at 16-1? I can't.
If I was going to do that, I'd rather take Von Miller at 50-1, or like you said, Leonard Floyd at $1.25.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think the odds of one of those players dominating an offensive line very strong.
Yeah. So, but the point is, if you throw $10 on Hendrickson at 175-1, you make $1,700.
Yeah,
that's a pretty solid deal in my book.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got Coop over 104 and a half. I call him Coop. We're buddies.
Call him Coop. You're friends.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's gonna. You mentioned the slow starts for Super Bowls in the past.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna segue me to my third prop. I like Cincinnati to punt on its first drive at -110 on BetMGM.
Yep, I had that one as well. That's good, and you found a better price.
I feel like I have to like it. I mean, the whole conversation is, can Cincinnati block the Rams' elite defensive line? I don't know. Maybe over a 60-minute period, but I don't expect them to on the first drive. I think the Rams will dominate up front early on.
Yep.
I expect a little bit of nerves because it's going to be a new experience for Cincinnati. First Super Bowl appearance in 30 years?
Yep.
So I expect Taylor to be a little bit conservative to start. A little bit of a low-scoring first quarter. Give me the punt at -110 for Cincinnati.
Bronco Devil, both quarterbacks over 300 at +525.
I would compare that to the same game parlay odds. So just keep that in mind. You might be able to find an even better deal if you just parlay 300 plus for both. But that sounds good. Yeah,
it does. I'm a little worried. It looks like the 3 milk bottles at the carnival, where it seems like it's
too easy.
It's too easy. But I think Burrow gets there, and I think if the Rams get behind, I think they throw. I'm okay with that. I think that's a hell of a price. I would have priced that probably somewhere in the 350 range. So I think you're getting hella good value there.
Let me see what I could find on odds.
Unless Stafford starts the game by throwing a pick, or how about a snap over the head like the Manning.
Okay, according to FanDuel's same game parlay odds, it pays out at +419. So you're getting over $1 of value.
Okay. So
that's solid to me.
I wasn't missing it too far. Any odds on Cincinnati second string quarterback stats after Burrow gets his head knocked off?
No, I don't see any odds.
If he didn't go out after getting sacked 9 times and blown up more than that by Tennessee, I don't know what you do to that fucking kid. I guess you hit his knee. You stop tackling him high. Scott, are you surprised that the teams don't do more devious shit like that? Like the Buffalo Kansas City game, where they could have just held them off the line of scrimmage and taken the 5 yards and run the time off the clock with 13 seconds. You could have just fucking tackled Kelsey and Hill coming off the line. Teams don't do that. They play it honorably. And it's the same with sacrificing a player to take out your quarterback's knees. They don't do that either. Are you surprised? Do we give the NFL a nod for doing the right thing?
I mean, if I was Buffalo, I would have grabbed the crap out of Kelsey and Hill because you're trying to win the game. But
right.
It reminds me of what John Harbaugh did a couple of years ago against Cincinnati. Final play of the game. They're up, I believe it was 3 at the time. He told his punter to go back there with 8 seconds left and to take a safety. The caveat was that he told the entire offensive line and the running back and the quarterback to hold the crap out of the defense and stall for 10 seconds.
Right.
And they did.
Yep.
And that's how the game ended.
Yep, so tackled him.
I do think you can make an argument with gamesmanship that you should not do it for sportsmanship purposes.
Right.
I'm trying to win the game.
Yeah.
So I side with Harbaugh on this one. If you want to do some devious stuff to win, injuries are a bit too far for me.
Okay.
But if you want to manipulate rules, I'm fine with that.
All right. Yeah, Belichick's figured out the penalty and the timeout thing, and Bronco Devil flea flicker plus 245. Yes. Again, I'm on that. Teams pull out a lot of shit in the Super Bowl.
Now, does it have to be completed, or do they have to just run it?
Have to just run it.
Okay.
Change used over 1.5. No, they're not measuring anymore.
Roughing the passer, yes. With today's NFL officiating,
Not with
they call roughing the passer for breathing on
not
people.
with no. It's Ron. Who the fuck's the referee? What's his last name? It's he didn't call it. Ron Torbert.
Oh, okay.
Is the referee. Doesn't call many penalties.
I still like the over on concept based on if the fact that you think Burrow's going to be running for his life the entire game. If he gets hit with the way that it's been officiated this season, even money sounds like a pretty solid deal in my book. You?
Well,
and we're expecting Burrow to get not even sacked, but let's just say hit. What do you think? Like 8 times, 10 times?
Oh yeah,
that's a lot of opportunities for one roughing the passer.
Yeah, agreed. I'm looking up Torbert's numbers here because I know when we had Vinovich last week, and I talked about this on the show when the week before when the Chiefs had Vinovich, no roughing the passer calls all season, Scott.
I prefer it that way, but you have to look at the fact that even roughing the passer, if you graze the face mask with your hand, it's roughing the passer. So they're extremely, I think, too protective of quarterbacks now. But if you think that Burrow's going to get hit 9 times and Stafford gets hit maybe 5 times, might be exaggerating, but let's just say both quarterbacks get hit 10 times in the game. You need one roughing the passer penalty. It's a decent deal in my book.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm just looking here. Torbert was the referee he was the substitute referee in that Cincinnati-Kansas City game, which was just a brutal game for the Chiefs. And that was the one with the, illegal hands to the face and that shit that kind of cost the game.
The holding in the end zone.
Mm-hmm. No, actually, yeah. Well, one of them, the hands to the face was offsetting. So and then they got the holding in the end zone on the next play.
Yeah.
Do you think Cincinnati has Burrow quick throwing all games? 4+ sacks sound plausible. Yes. I don't think they're gonna have him in the 3-step, 5-step drop for most of the game. You got to give him time to get down the field.
I don't think they're suddenly going to turn him into Ben Roethlisberger, where he throws a bunch of dump off passes the entire game.
Nope.
They got here doing what they want to, which is airing it around the parking lot to chase Higgins and Boyd. They're not going to change their approach. They might have to in the second half, but the first half they're going to try to sling it.
Mcpherson 4 field goals plus 650. Ugh, that's a lot. I'd rather play 3 field goals at about plus 300.
Yeah, I agree.
4 is a lot.
650 seems, it's a little bit too much.
50 plus 130. That's getting close. I'd probably get involved at 50, 150. Not sure 130 is quite enough. Last play.
I think you would just be better off, Bronco, instead of taking McPherson field goal 50 plus. Why not just take longest field goal and you get both kickers?
Mm-hmm.
You lose, of course, some value from plus 130 to maybe minus 115, but you're probably saving about 4 yards.
They're not letting Gay turn anything over 50.
No, but that's the point. But you might be able to win if he hits a 48-yarder.
Oh, I get you. All right.
So you're saving a couple yards there, and you're also saving a couple on McPherson, but you're adding a kicker. So I do think you're better off laying a little bit of extra juice to get both kickers and saving about 4 yards.
Last play, not a kneel down, plus 140.
That's a real tough one. Because there's 2 ways that you can really win it. Well, really multiple ways. One's a field goal at the buzzer, which is rare, but that happens. The other is a potential team driving late, runs out of time. Or C is, kind of the same boat. It's just a turnover and the clock runs out.
It's really who has the ball at the end. That's what you're betting on.
Yeah, it's really it.
David the Italian said just got back from the hot tub, lives in Vegas. Fuck. And I liked him too. Now I want to go to the hot tub. How about them Razorbacks? Yeah, absolutely, buddy. Super Bowl MVP. Tyler, we did about the first 10, 12 minutes on the show on the Super Bowl MVP, running it down by position, by player, who we liked, who we didn't like.
After recording, you'll probably have to go back and listen to the first 10, 15 minutes.
So, spoiler alert: we like long odds. We like long odds with defensive guys.
I like long odds and Burrow's tempting at plus 225.
Each quarterback, 1 interception plus 200. No, not for me.
Is that exactly 1, or is that at least 1?
I would think 1 plus.
I think it's 1 plus.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. I don't think the odds are good enough for me.
Nope.
I would rather just take one of the quarterbacks to throw a pick.
Yep.
I think Burrow's going to throw one.
I agree.
I like the over on Burrow.
I agree.
But it's a spot where Stafford, we know, has been a guy who's been a loose cannon at times, or not even at times, most of his career. But yeah, plus 200 isn't really rich enough for me. Bronco Devil mentions a fun one, which is the losing quarterback to throw 2+ picks at plus 350.
Yes.
I don't mind that one. I think that has some value to it.
Yep, totally agree. I'm just looking at the. So they call it. I'm going back to this roughing the passer thing. Average 3.97 roughing the passer penalties per week, league wide. So that's about 1 in every 4 games, give or take. If you got a full week, obviously a little better than that if you've got a bye weeks involved.
Okay.
So there's kind of a rough estimate to get started. Man, I always like to run the math on all these props. I do the math down to the granular level. So you're looking true odds. What do we say? So they call 4 per week out of 16 games. You should be getting 4 to 1. So yeah, I'm not getting involved. Sorry.
Somebody brought it up. I don't mind it, but
both teams rushing
could be higher.
Both teams rushing TD plus 150. Yeah.
I don't know if Cincinnati's in the
I
game.
don't either. They're just awful in the red zone, dude.
Well, Mixon's been, I know it was great in overtime against Kansas City, but he's been basically a non-factor, or at least not that big of a factor
for the most part. And that you want to get involved in Mixon rushing yards?
No.
You got him around 60.
I'd lean under, but no.
Got him around 60 or so, right?
Give or take. I think that's too high.
Just looking at rushing attempts here. Sony Michel over 5.5. Akers go in the doghouse again.
If he fumbles.
That's what I'm saying. Or if he's ineffective.
Could be. Okay. I see Tyler's asking about Odell anytime touchdown. I mentioned that before. I like Odell yards. I think anytime touchdown to around plus 140 solid. I don't even mind first touchdown. But I do think that Odell has a lot of pretty appealing numbers for this matchup.
Yep, agreed. We Count Money over here wants to know if I'm going to do a prop package. Yeah, I do that every season for my premium subs at no extra charge. I throw out a little my top 10 prop plays. So we'll be looking at that. Done pretty well.
Bronco asking if I'm taking the Rams, by the way. We're going to save all the deep dive opinion stuff for later in the week, but I like Cincinnati.
Okay. All right, there you go. What else? You got any other props, buddy?
Not really. Okay. I feel like those are the three that jumped off the page that I will be betting. I'd say either a full unit with some sprinkles on other stuff on the side, or even more than a unit. But those are my 3 favorites.
Okay.
The 3 being Odell over 60.5 receiving yards at around minus 120, Hendrickson to record a sack at minus 125, and Cincinnati to punt on its first drive at minus 110. I love all 3 of those. As for the other stuff, I'll take the sprinkles on the MVP. Floyd at 200 to 1, Hendrickson 175 to 1, Ramsey around 125 to 1, and then probably a play on Burrow instead of Cincinnati money line.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like that's pretty much going to do it for me. Then again, I'm going to be digging throughout the rest of the week. If there's anything that I like besides the stuff I mentioned, I'll reiterate that later in the week.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like that's what I got so far.
All right, and I've got Higgins and Boyd together over Kupp at plus 105. Some decent value there. I've got Burrow over Stafford, most TD passes at plus 150. And I've got the Bengals to win with Jamar Chase and Kupp both to score a touchdown and that pays plus 600. And most importantly, we all found out what an octopus was. So there you go.
Cool.
One more from Bronco Devil. Rams minus 4.5. OBJ, Cup, Chase, TD, Stafford, 250 plus at 1,000. Too many moving parts for me. Too many things have.
I think there's too many touchdown scores in there.
Yep, that's exactly right. Too many things have to go right. OBJ, Cup, Chase.
I mean, you're getting the usual suspects
right.
and all, but I really have a hard time putting more than, I'd say, 2 touchdown scores in a game, or in a parlay, I mean. I just feel like you need so much to go right. I don't know how many touchdowns you're expecting in the game, but you need 3 to go to specific guys.
Mm-hmm.
It gets a little bit too dicey for me.
You guys submit props when they first come out. I quit props the past 2 years. Seem to always go like 10 to 12 down a few units. I get that. Yes,
I don't go that crazy on props, but there's some that I really like.
Yep. I will look at the early prop numbers because there's usually some stuff that stands out that you got to get down on because you know it's going to change. Anyone know where the public money is on the Super Bowl? Let me see what I got here. What do you got? Anything quick to you?
Let me pull it up quickly. I'd assume the public's on Cincinnati, right?
The last I saw, that was the case.
I see around 63% on Cincinnati.
I've got I've got different. I'm looking at action. And I've got 58-42 Rams on number and 76-24 on money.
That's for the Rams?
Uh-huh.
So sharps are pounding the Rams.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep, agreed. As far as the total goes, let's see here. Total is sharp money is all over the under. 40% of
doesn't surprise me.
40% of the bets, 80% of the money.
If they think the Rams are going to win, which a lot of the money's coming in on, you're expecting Burr to get sacked about 6 times. So they're expecting the Rams defense to dominate, and that's why they like the under. So I can understand the logic there. We're going to save our actual opinions on the game itself for later on in the week, but I can understand people thinking that it's correlated, Rams winning with the under. I think that makes sense from a correlation perspective.
Yep, and we always talk about how to correlate those if there's correlation opportunities, and I think there's opportunities both ways in this one. So, Jay Seaton, our farm play is Richmond and George Mason under 137. Very good. Each team touchdown first half minus 105. It's another milk bottle bet. Yeah, okay, I'm in. Yeah. All right, very good. Okay, guys, thanks for joining us. We had some fun. Hopefully, we answered some questions and revealed some of our favorite stuff. And, we'll be doing the Friday preview show where we talk about the game itself, the matchups there, the injury list, and everything with the Gatorade on Friday. Who do you like? What do you like for Gatorade, Scott?
Blue.
Okay.
And orange.
I'm going red. Going red this year.
Really?
Yep. Going red.
I'm going blue and orange.
Okay, fair enough. All right, guys. Thanks very much for joining us. As always, make sure you check us out each and every day, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, as Scott and I will do our best to help us all head back to the window. You guys have a great day. Good luck on all your plays, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care, everybody.